Welcome to Traumedy. It's Nurses Week. Happy Nurses Week, everybody. You're listening to Traumedy, the podcast that helps you take your pain and play with it. Let's play. Let's play with some pain. It's Nurses Week. Speaking of pain, thank you, nurses. Thank you for your dedication to giving of yourselves over and over and over and over. We kicked off Nurses Week here in Boulder Valley, Colorado at the Louisville Underground with a really fun Nurses Off the Charts show. So many great stories. I told the story about euthanizing my mother when she canceled her death, she canceled her death. Anyway, oh man. You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. Play with your pain, people. And so many weird foreign body stories right in a row. There was, should I start off with this? I don't think I should tell you. But anyway, let's just say there were a lot of breakfast items. It just was it was just ridiculous. And so I'm Nancy Norton. Did I introduce myself? I'm Nancy Norton. I am a comedian, a registered nurse, although I got out of healthcare for the same reason a lot of people get into it, to save lives. Killing it on my machine. And so now I heal with humor and I give talks called The Power of Humor. I'm going to Penn Medicine this week for Nurses Week. I'm excited to talk to all the nurses there, and they're broadcasting it to all their satellite locations, and it's going to be fun. I love presenting the power of humor, how it helps with team building, resilience, job retention, boosts your immunity. It helps with your health, your mental wellness, your memory. It helps with memory. This week we have a special guest. Every week is a special guest. Do I say that every week? Because I mean it. Every week is a special guest. And you're going to hear from her momentarily. They have a show. She has a show coming up with a couple of other women, one of whom has been on the show before, Katie Mason, Andrea Vall, who is an amazing producer, marketer, comedian. And they do a show called, well, you'll hear about it here in just a minute. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always email me through my website, nancynorton.tv, like television, nancynorton.tv, like television. And that's enough for now. Enjoy this episode. Welcome to Traumedy. My guest this week is a hypnotist and a belief coach, which I'm so excited to talk about. Welcome, Elaina McMillan.
Thank you.
I have this whole sound thing on the soundboard, but this is better, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
It's more organic. Thanks for coming to my garage and recording with me. I got to see you at the show that is called, and I know the name of it. Hang on a second. Well, it's a nice long name. Life. It's called Life, a delightful show about fear and grief.
It's kind of a mouthful.
Yeah, but it is a little bit. But
Life, a delightful show about fearandgrief.com was too much.
Yeah, and forget about getting the Instagram handle.
Yeah, how are you guys that's taken.
How are you going to handle the Instagram thing? What are you going to do? Just do an acronym of it? What would the acronym be?
We got fearandgrief.com.
Oh, you did?
You know, it's funny. I got
fearandgrief.com? You own that?
I got an email from GoDaddy that said, congratulations on Fear and Grief. And I was like, I felt so seen. I just was like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, dang. And I would like to encourage you to not use GoDaddy because that guy shot elephants and I'm not a fan. But I did stop using GoDaddy. I boycott GoDaddy.com, but they are the cheapest.
Oh,
we cannot argue with that. We can't. It's like Walmart and Amazon. It's so hard to convince people because you go with, I ended up researching and then I ended up not liking the place I went to. And I have to admit it. I shot myself in the foot by protesting them shooting an elephant. But
a lot of shots fired.
The CEO. Shots fired. All right. We have a sound effect board, but we don't use it. Congratulations on owning. That's kind of interesting, though. Isn't it interesting to own fear and grief?
I own fear and grief.
And was it ampersand or is it spelled out and?
It is and. I'm a fan of ampersand, but probably not in a domain name. But yeah, I was so surprised it was available. And then I thought, who would do that?
Yeah.
Who would take
Isn't
that?
it funny? How many, I wonder, like, if all of us could write, like, what are the weirdest domain names? I would love to hear from people. What are the weirdest domain names that you purchased? I'll tell you one that I bought that I thought this was going to be my.
It's going to take off.
Oh, dude. I really think it could have gone and still could go.
Okay.
Although now I'm of an age where
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay, so my sister and I do a lot. We are single moms. Like I say, I'm a single, stay away from home mom. Nobody laughs at that, but thank you. I never get
I get it.
I know, no one ever laughs at it. I always say it and I wait and I pause and I'm like, nope. And 20 years, I'm going to keep doing it. So my younger sister and I, we do our own home repairs. We YouTube it or we Google it or whatever, and we do a ton of home repairs. And then we also are single and trying to date. So it was sort of this combination of women doing home repairs and dating advice, and it was called Caulk Talk.
Oh my God.
Caulk, like around the tub.
Yes.
Talk.
C-A-L-K.
You get it.
Or C-A-U?
C-A-U-L-K. Caulk Talk.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know.
And
then,
nothing?
well, we get in fights. We don't talk for a year at a time. Right now, we're on the outs.
You're on the Caulk Not Talk.
Caulk Not Talk.
Program.
We'd have to do a texting podcast.
It's just visual. And instead of auto-generated text, you could have auto-generated sound.
Yeah, it does the opposite of the script, whatever that is. The script writing of your podcast.
Right.
Maybe you could just do it automated, like so many of those Instagram reels now. We could have that robot-y person go, and then he came over to my house.
I'll read them for you, and I'll just read them in that cadence so that they think it's not a real person. But they're trying to imply it's real, but not real.
Well, this is why this is what we came here to talk about. Domain names. And also, speaking of not real, my friend Nina Role, who I should have on the podcast, do you know Nina?
I don't think
She's
so.
a Boulder performance artist. She used to run the, what is it called? Truth Be Told storytelling show at the Dairy. And I won Grand Slam 2016. Anyway.
You are a winner.
Well, because I need validation from strangers. It's, low self-esteem.
Does it help?
It did.
Yeah.
It did intermittently. Yeah. I mean, the floor comes out real quick, but
It doesn't last long. But
No.
You won. My great claim to fame was that I was accepted into the Seattle International Comedy
Hell
Competition.
yeah.
You
Congratulations.
won my Seattle International Comedy Competition.
the year, but we
Same year.
didn't compete
Different
against
groups.
but we didn't compete
That's right.
against each other.
We did not.
I'm glad because
Yeah.
could we ever?
It would make today so awkward. So weird.
So weird.
You know how I like to hold a grudge for 4 years, 5 years.
Never mind that I'd been doing it 20 years longer than anyone else. And so it took me, let me just say, it did take me 30 years to win a contest because I have such low self-esteem that even though my comedy skills were there, there's just this is the belief part we're going to get back to with your hypnosis because I truly would tell myself I cannot, like I should not, cannot. And my mother has that, you can't tell these people you're not all that. So I would sabotage and I would, and so many things. Like I used to run races, play racquetball, whatever. If I ever got ahead, I would start losing.
Yeah.
Just out of discomfort. But okay. Nina Role. I'm going to finish that thought, and then I swear to God, we are going to, I think. But she is the voice of Alexa. So she had to be in the closet for over a decade.
Being the voice of Alexa?
Yeah, and because Amazon said, oh, it's a robot. It's Nina Role standing there in a studio 8 hours a day, 7 days a week,
all the things.
going, getting that from YouTube, and I mean, it's so wild now that I know, and I'm like, I know Nina.
Now you can hear it?
I totally can hear it.
Oh, how funny.
Now they may have in this day of AI evolution, but somebody outed her, and then finally she was able to start telling people because somebody wrote,
oh my gosh.
They were trying to find it for years.
What a secret to keep.
Secret.
Could you keep that secret?
Oh, no, I can't keep any. Don't tell me any secrets. Hey, anybody listening, do not tell me secrets. I do not keep secrets well. First of all, short-term memory. Second of all, blurt.
I would think short-term memory would make you an excellent secret receptacle.
Well, I remember the parts, the really juicy part, but not the part don't tell anyone.
Selective. I got it. Short-term memory loss. Got it. Okay.
Well, so Elaina, here we are. And I got to see you perform, and it was really powerful and piqued my curiosity about, some of the trauma you shared. But before we get into that, do you want to share any of your backstory? Like sort of, here's who I am. I came up in this way, and that brought me to being a hypnotist belief coach. Or which direction would you like to go with this?
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of where we want to launch?
The how I became a belief coach is so boring. I don't know that there's really anything there. I remember sort of doing it organically and thinking, I wish there was a way I could get paid for this. It was like 20 years ago. And then I became a hypnotherapist, and that just gave me credibility, and then I was able to charge money. I mean, it was really the most boring story, and there's nothing
No,
there.
but they're underneath that boring story. Well, here's what I'm thinking, because obviously you said it came organically. You started helping people. Something in you is just a natural helper, healer. And then you just knew to help people know that, hey, don't buy into that.
Right.
Something in you. I just wonder if you got gaslit as a kid, or if somebody told you false things, or just the whole patriarchy lie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of big lies out here in our culture.
Yes.
So I'm curious if something in you was like, you know what? I'm not going to believe that anymore. And then I'm going to show other people, or nope.
Yeah, no, that
I'm
is
going to
there.
force
Yes.
you to
Good
tell
job,
a story.
Good job. No, great. You did it. That's great. So I'm not sure how sexy this is, but this is the thing. You often hear about people's childhoods being, difficult, and the impact that had on them and how that shaped them into who they are. And I would tell you that I have two extraordinary, loving, supportive parents. But here's what happened. They always told me I could do anything.
Wow.
And I grew up thinking I was a fraud. So it had this like weird, I also ended up in this terrifying relationship where I was almost murdered with this sociopath, because I really thought people said what they meant and meant what they said.
Yes,
I
me
was
too.
not prepared for the world at large, because I grew up in this insulated, beautiful little love bubble that ultimately had me second guess myself and not understand the world at large. So my hard knocks kind of came at like 18 when I went out into the world, naive.
And not everybody was in your corner and saying, we believe in you and you can do anything. And
well, I think I automatically found a way to flip that and question it. It felt like pressure. It felt like that can't be true, and it's just a matter of time before I disappoint them. So I really grew up with this like, I'm a fraud thing as a result of their incessant support.
okay, I think I'm getting it. So they're telling you you're super capable, but that actually made you counter that voice inside going, I'm ordinary.
Slow down.
Yeah. And then that sense of false expectation, like, oh, I better be extra special now.
Right.
That's a little bit of pressure in a weird way.
It was, you go to school, you're not the smartest kid, you're not the, funniest kid, you're not the whatever. You kind of gauge yourself and compare yourself. And then you go home and your parents are like, you can do anything. And I was like, wow, you guys just, you don't know me, or, you have this unrealistic expectation, and now I have to try to keep that alive for you. Yeah. I don't know. It just had a counter.
Yeah,
effect.
I get it. I can understand. I can see how that could happen. I get it. And sometimes we need a little, I don't know, do we? I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't know either.
There's a book out there I read, and I've never read it with a partner. It's been my fantasy, like Conscious Loving. But I remember.
I remember that book.
Remember that book?
I
Conscious
do. Was
Loving?
it blue?
It did have a blue. I feel like there was some blue on it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, keep going.
No, well, I just remember this part of it that said a lot of people hit their upper limits and they get very uncomfortable and blow up the relationship because they're in unfamiliar territory. But like sometimes we have these limits put on us that give us something to push against.
Yeah, or break through.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I don't know. Like now I'm wondering if the pendulum can swing too far and we can the sky's the limit. And then it's sort of like I one time made the mistake of giving my son money and going to the Lego aisle And and it was so much better if I just got him a Lego and brought it home, and he was super happy with it. Right. But when he went there, it was like, I could do this, I could do that, I could have that.
He couldn't make a choice. It was overwhelming and upsetting.
Yes, and he had to leave so many things behind that it was like not going to be. I don't know if that's the good analogy.
I would say this. I with no evidence whatsoever, believe that we are here to have a human experience, and that will include a whole range of emotions. And if you had these really loving, supportive parents who told you all the things, it's not a free pass. You're not going to just like skip through life and have a perfect life.
Right.
You're going to find a way to blow things up or second guess yourself. I mean, for me, getting back to the question of, did you have a belief where you said, that's not how that's going to go, or I'm going to bust that? I think it was the fraud thing. It was everything I did was sort of tainted by this belief that it was temporary, or I didn't deserve it, or I would be found out. I remember I used to do radio on Mile High Sports. I remember we had a show. It was new for us. Radio was new for us. And I said something like, you're listening to Mile High Sports on 1510 a.m. or whatever. And afterwards, the board op said, hey, so it's actually AM 1510. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I was just trying something different. Like I was so uptight about not disappointing somebody. I couldn't even be honest and real, So the belief thing was about, maybe you can't do anything or everything, but, the story that you're a fraud isn't true either. And what could you make up? So in the coaching, it wasn't about like flipping it on its head and saying, I am capable of anything. It was to say, what's an upgrade that you can believe and then trade it out, trade up for that.
I like that.
And it might be little steps.
I really like that. I could see that incremental, because it's so overwhelming to go from here to like, whatever, the moon, and then like, okay.
So what if you just took these? There was somebody I remember in a workshop I did, and she had a belief that she was unlovable.
So many people have that core belief. Yeah.
And it's not, there's no world where you just decide you're lovable and then fully believe that. It's just too big a gap.
Yeah.
And so we worked on it a little bit, and what we got to was she could believe that God only created lovable beings.
Yes.
And that she was one of God's children.
That's
like
so
that was the only way she could open up the possibility of being lovable.
Reverse engineer it that way.
So you just take that on, and then maybe from there you can upgrade once that becomes your reality. Is there another little level up you could do?
Yeah. I like that a lot. I read a couple of books in my self-help 80s, the 1980s. I'm not 80 yet.
I was like, self-help 80s. That is a good way to spend your 80s, right?
In my self-help 80s.
Because you'll read all the books that you already read, but you won't remember that you read them. It'll be all new again.
Yes, and then you can use them as some sort of incontinence device.
That doesn't feel comfortable. A diaper made of books from the 80s.
Just the pages. I was picturing the pages. Obviously, not the binders, Elaina.
That's really uncomfortable.
They were paperbacks. Okay, so
it changes everything,
especially your diaper. Anyway, boom, bam, we're on. Oh shoot! I don't know what I was gonna say. Shoot. Okay, self-help 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, two books that helped me, and one of them was Dare to Be Average. I love that book. It freed me up. So when I first started stand-up, because I felt like an imposter, a fraud. I can't do this. And then I was like, Dare to Be Average. Oh my gosh! And I have done it.
We have a winner.
I am on the slow rise to mediocrity. And you know what? It's happier here.
Yeah.
I'm happy here. And yes, I've developed some skills over the years. And yeah, I've won a couple of contests. But oops, I got to turn off my phone. I apologize to everyone in the room and abroad. Okay. Yeah. And the other one was living in love with yourself. Now, one of the things that's said in there that I have probably mentioned on this podcast, I don't know, but it's a thing I've anchored. It said everyone gets 1 unit of self-worth. 1 unit. You cannot add to it or take away from it. That's so helpful.
It's an even playing field.
1 unit of self-worth. Anyway,
Interesting.
thanks for hearing that.
Yeah.
But I was talking about the biology of belief.
Right.
And the belief is so important. But I love this feels manageable. Like trading up like the next car you get or the next house or the next, I don't know what.
Boyfriend. Husband.
I like that idea.
I traded up.
Yeah, girl. And you were just saying before we were recording, you were saying that you married 2 McMillans.
Yeah.
Wow.
2 McMillans. It was funny because it was
2 different McMillans and not related.
no, and their names rhyme. I mean, in the very beginning, it was hard because when I would introduce them, it would particularly happen when I would say both names, like a formal introduction. I would just accidentally say the first husband's name because it just rolled. I had said it for 16 years.
Yeah,
you know,
those
just
neuronal
rolled right off.
Those you got to give yourself grace, and I hope that your husband.
Yeah, he was generous about it for a while. I mean, he let it. And it got better. You know, I got better about it.
Yeah, those neuronal pathways. Unlearning is the hardest thing we do.
It is. That is exactly right. And the thing about beliefs, getting back to that, the most important thing for me to remind myself of is that things are true for us because we believe them.
That's it.
Not because they're true. Wow. And so it's really important to just check in and ask yourself, like, what are my beliefs? I can tell you right now, truth is subjective. Once you've got the belief in place, it doesn't matter if it's true or not because it's as true to you as it could be.
I remember learning that in high school in one of those philosophy classes, perception is reality. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if perception is the same as belief, but it kind of is because you're looking at the world through a filter.
Right.
So when you work with somebody, and do you want to talk about this or do you want to talk about something else?
No, I don't care. Let's go.
I'm just curious because I have some blocks. I have blocks, but I'm starting to crack them. And I'm also doing a lot of reparenting, which is basically internal family systems work where I'm reparenting my inner child, my inner teenager, and just listening to them more and asking them what they need and integrating and starting to love myself for the first time in my life in my 60s, which is really like such a cool thing.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's a different feeling. It's a more relaxed feeling. And it's an okay. Like there's an okayness is all I can say.
And
and I don't have to win a comedy competition to prove my worth or anything.
A pureness about it, kind of.
Yeah. It's ordinary and wonderful is what it feels like.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, I had an interesting thought that left my head.
Yeah. Those happen with me, especially when we're going here.
You gave me permission, like subconsciously, to just like not remember things. I was going to say, man, you do a show about fear and grief, and wouldn't you know, you're going to stir some of that up. And so now I have a therapist. And what I found out is that I have a part that has done an amazing job of disassociating.
Oh.
And when I first met my husband, I remember telling him, I don't really have high highs, but I don't really have low lows. Mm-hmm. And he's like, wow, you're so zen. And I was like, I know, right?
She's laughing now.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not zen. That's, pinching off the ability to feel something fully. If you prevent yourself from deeply feeling fear or loss or grief, you can't help but pinch off deeply feeling joy.
Thank you. Yeah, I tried to tell my mom that her whole life, but whatever that was, she didn't want to feel. I have to trust her judgment. It was not, she could not manage that.
Yeah.
So and it is sad.
Yes.
It's a sadness to not, and the tears of grief are so like a friend to me. Like I'm grateful I was able, in a way, because I'm the fourth of 3 children that were wanted. But I gotta get that joke in every episode. But the point is, like, my friend, I just did a meditation, speaking of Zen, at the Buddha, Shambhala Center. Mm-hmm. And this guided meditation was really cool, but she was asking about, I can't remember, something comforting. And I, we did the sharing afterwards, and I was like, yeah, it was my tears and the hallway light as a kid that I used to play with the kaleidoscope shapes coming off of it.
Oh.
And it was really, like, I enjoyed it. I didn't have anyone reading me a book or rubbing my back like I did for my son, but I probably deprived him of the beautiful kaleidoscope of the hallway light.
Having to find it in ordinary places.
Yeah, and
That's
so
okay.
it's okay.
I think reading to him was
Well,
probably
I'm sure he had his
just
moments.
lovely.
But anyway, it's so interesting. Two sides to every coin, right? Like sometimes neglect, it forces you to do self-comforting, and sometimes over-nurturing, can deprive you of like, who am I, or how do I self-comfort, or how does that impact your resilience?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's, I told you I went out into the world and I was like unprepared. I ended up in a relationship with a sociopath.
Wow, me
I
too.
didn't have the ability to like recognize it. And I think, and it was an abusive relationship. And I was thinking about like, how do you ever relax again around somebody who hurt you before? And I think that's the disassociation. Like the only way I could have ever relaxed again was to just
You had to
disconnect
put
from
that in a compartment aside. So is that when the dissociation started? With that part was like maybe you're adolescent, you're a 18-year-old, which is still adolescence.
I agree.
And then that really enthusiastic, optimistic teenage energy that was betrayed. The trust was betrayed.
And I did not have the skills to navigate it because generally speaking, I had never been in danger before. I just didn't have a skill set for any of the things that were present in that time in my life. And it was wild. And then on top of that, there was like a hostage situation, and I'll tell the story in the show, but we have an agreement to share processed material.
Okay.
And I was writing this story and I realized it's not processed yet.
And how do you define process? Now you're talking about the show, Life, a delightful show about fear and grief. Right. And it's going to be at the Bug Theater in Denver on May 18th. Right. So maybe I'll try and bump you into a sooner edition because so we can get the word out, because it's important that people see the show. I think it's really valuable for people, like we were talking about in the kitchen, how there's so many times there's a comedy show or there's a drama, but so seldom this is so nice to have this integration because you all bring humor into it.
Right.
You're a comedian.
Right.
And so back to, you're going to talk about this in the show, so no spoilers, I guess, but it processed. So how processed? Yeah,
like how do you even define that?
Well, yeah.
And some things you'll work on forever.
I guess the idea is that it's not going to be so raw that
the audience feels like they have to take care of me.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right? Like I read a love letter to my mom who has Alzheimer's. And when I first wrote that, I could not get through the first sentence without bursting into tears and like sobbing through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's more processed now. I might still get like a little weepy and I wouldn't hold that back, but I'm just moved. I'm not torn open, in that moment. And I feel like that's the difference between processed and unprocessed.
Okay. And so it's being emotionally dysregulated. That is part
clearly that's no problem for me, right? with the disassociation and all. But no,
But losing it kind of, I have done that so many times in shows and I'm like, well, but I also came up with this group called Vox Feminista and the shows were so raw. And like one show was called Sacred Rage and we were just like, like,
interesting.
And then, so I don't know. I was thinking, maybe you have a version of your show that's like the raw.
A delightful show about, we talked about it, like
about
anger and rage, or something
unprocessed, the unprocessed version, or
like the
dress rehearsal
version,
the prequel. I don't know, but for certain, some of us,
yes,
but not everybody,
right? But there's value.
That would be a different. That would be a different show.
We actually talk about that. Like does this fulfill what the audience is expecting? And by the way, like the audience has no idea what to expect. It's a weird title and it's an honest title, but it's, it's hard to explain it. And so you really have to kind of experience it. But I don't know. I think that the show is ever changing because we're evolving. And right now, I didn't think I could tell the story of this relationship without it, because I hadn't fully felt everything yet.
Yeah, because of that dissociated part.
Right. So now I check in every day at 1 p.m. with that part.
Oh, nice. You have an appointment.
And
I was on an app that was a parts app.
Oh, how
and it was like
interesting.
time to check in with your parts.
Oh my gosh.
And then I did it 2 days in a row. And then But I like that you're that regulated with it. Like at 1 o'clock, I'm going to give this part some time to express herself.
Right. And to remind her, like, I got this, we're an adult. I'm an adult.
Yep. That's
and we can handle this now. And thank you for letting me feel. Because I also want to have, like, I can't remember the last time I had that excitement, like can't sleep because you're so excited that you're going to Disneyland tomorrow, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have that. I'm like, glad that we've got this trip coming up. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not like excited.
You don't dare allow yourself that because of what happened, because of the trauma that happened.
Yeah, I think it's like, I think of it like a volume setting, and I just had it turned down low.
Yeah.
So I feel the good stuff on low, and I feel the bad stuff on low.
So you had like a little, like you could open it up slightly.
Yeah, like let's turn it up to 4. Ooh, let's see what happens at 4.
Yay. That's really cool. I was thinking, I don't know if that's part of also just me maturing. I remember being so excited about a trip to Disney World, and I would get diarrhea. Like I was so excited.
No, like you can't even handle it. You don't know what to do with yourself.
And we had a big family, and we did not fly. We were in a car for several, 12 hours. Then not a good match for the intestinal excitement. Ooh. But yeah, then I don't remember. I was trying to think too, when did that kind of change where those butterflies, like I still want to feel those, right? But
I think on some level, maybe we are like preparing ourselves, like don't get too excited.
Yeah.
It may not be that exciting. So keep your expectations lower or realistic.
Yeah.
Do you know the invitation poem from Orion Mountain Dreamer?
No.
It's so good. I cannot tell it to you, but
should we put a link in the show notes for it for people to?
I can give you the gist. It's like, it doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know, if you'll take a risk to follow your dream, or it doesn't interest me what school you went to. I want to know if you've, touched the depths of sorrow, something, but that's kind of the paradox. Like this stuff doesn't matter. This is the stuff that matters.
Yeah.
And I actually sort of that poem sort of created the opening for me to initiate my divorce. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself was the second part.
Yeah, that's a big one from Codependency No More.
Yeah. And I read it and I was like, nope.
That first McMillan. I loved what you said about the universe had a typo.
It was a typo. Oh, I thought it said Pat. You meant Matt? Oh, thank goodness.
But that's such a serious thing. And it is so hard, especially like somebody you really like. Like I'm guessing your husband was not somebody that it wasn't an explosive end, or
No, he wasn't a terrible person. It wasn't anything like that. But I got married at 21 and he was 29, and I was almost 40. We were just so different, and
such a huge growth time between 21 and 40.
Right?
And, I got married at 20, and my husband and I divorced at 11 years later. And we had different styles. He loved staying home, and I love adventure. And
right.
But that's not uncommon to have that in a partnership, but we weren't vibing.
Well, and when beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you met now, there is no world where you would have even had a first date.
No.
You have to, this is like your person, your partner in the world. And, if that's not who you want to be with, how can you show up authentically for anything?
Right. And at the time it was perfect. Like we put each other through college. I don't know about you guys, but it's like you do trust the path and then it's done.
Yeah.
But that courage to leave something that is comfortable, but just, it's so ironic. His cousin was a psychologist, and she goes, I forget who said this line. It's somebody you'll probably know, but she said, people really do lead lives of quiet desperation. And that was when I had just started doing stand-up. And I think she was telling me that, it was complimenting me for pursuing my passion and my dream. But so that also made me like, oh yeah.
It's hard when you don't know. It's one thing, like you're lying to yourself or, however it is, you don't know.
Yeah.
You're just doing what you're doing. But once you know and you can't unknow it, now you really are living a lie. And I think that was what that line in the poem, can you disappoint another to be true to yourself? And the first thought was, no, I can't. And then the second thought was, oh my gosh, that's why I'm still married. Like the expiration date was like 5 years before.
I know, that's usually the case.
And so it was first just denial, and then it was having to, muster the courage to say the thing that you, and for us, it was like I was single-handedly breaking up a family.
I know.
But I also was aware that, I didn't want to teach my kids, you should, just hang in there and make it work. Even if it isn't working, because you don't deserve to have what you want. Like, I didn't want that to be the lesson.
Yeah. And that is definitely a part of it, but it's also you matter. But I know it helps with kids to like, I can't role model this. And my son got me I was in a relationship with a sociopath also.
I often thought about this, like if your kid needed braces, man, you do whatever you need to do to pay for that. But if you needed something, it's so much harder to pull the trigger.
I know.
And I feel like I'm a fan of using any tool you have that can move you in an appropriate or a healthy direction is fine. Like, for example, I don't have a lot of self-control. If my house was full of Doritos and ice cream, I would eat Doritos and ice cream all day long. So sometimes it's not about getting to the root of why I eat Doritos or why I want Doritos and ice cream or why I can't control myself. Sometimes it's just about not having Doritos and ice cream in the house. Like, I'm all for just setting it up so that it works.
So, and you got out for yourself and your kids, and this marriage was not to a sociopath. No. That was a previous experience.
Right.
But you got out and you honored yourself. And then once you start doing that, isn't it exciting? All the cool, like when you're on your path, the doors that open and the friendships you make and the people you connect with on on a higher frequency. I call it higher. I don't know, but to me, it feels like a higher frequency.
No, I'm with you. And it's sort of like, it's like the difference between walking uphill and walking downhill. Or walking against the wind or walking with the wind to your back. It's like everything's easier. Everything you feel kind of guided. Everything feels, even the things that are challenging don't feel bad. They just are challenging. You
have the energy to deal with it.
That's true.
Isn't it interesting?
Sure. Absolutely.
Like, I was thinking that today, even this morning, getting up at 5 a.m., you do this show with our common friend, Andrea Vall.
Right.
And I know she's going by Andrea Marie.
I think she's Andrea Vall in the show.
Is she right now?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, no, because she's going, she's divorced and that's her married name that she's not using. But anyway, Andrea.
Right.
We love Andrea. We love Andrea.
Yes.
In common. And so this morning, and I normally go to bed at 3 a.m, but I got up at 5 and I still feel kind of energized. I thought, I'm going to feel so out of it. And I didn't feel, obviously I was maybe a little groggy, but not terrible. I just felt I had the energy of the loving universe. I think the universe really, I don't know, do you believe in spirit energy? Or
I do.
Do you feel the loving universe supporting you when you're on your path?
I do. That's one of the things I'm excited about with regard to like renegotiating with this part to not be, to turn up the volume on the feeling.
Yeah.
Because I also think I've turned down the volume on my trusting myself, because that's a feeling too. Like intuition.
That's it.
Every psychic I've ever met, like dinner party, because of a reading, wherever, however, has said, "Oh, you're very psychic," and I just don't. I'm like, am I? I don't, because I don't feel it. But of course I don't, because my volume was at 2 or whatever, and so I'm excited to turn that up too.
Ooh, I am too. I love a psychic friend. Be my psychic friend. I have a psychic coach right now. I've been channeling
somebody
recently.
who's like, that's fantastic.
Yeah, she's in London, so I meet with her at midnight, and she's
perfect for you.
Yeah, 7 a.m. for her. But I need, like, since my mom died and Now I know that my ex has died. I'm telling you, something in me is definitely more connected to the divine wisdom and my body wisdom of the gut intelligence.
Yes.
That gut is amazing. I don't know how it does it, but it knows.
I've heard good things about it. Like you can feel it.
Oh,
literally.
Yeah. Yes, and
I want that.
And I'm getting more of this. Like I just had an experience with a sociopath recently, who was a brother of a guy that is a friend of mine, and I hadn't met him, and all of a sudden I met this guy and my gut was just like, I can't even tell you. It was just so clear. And this guy confirmed, his brother is a sociopath. And in the past, because my mother had some of these tendencies, I've been trying to like heal them, and they kind of want to be healed, but they can't. And so they get really frustrated as well, is my theory.
Yeah.
But they also just, they use your energy, and they need
your energy.
They do that whole supply thing we know about.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for you to get more connected with your gut and your divine wisdom. That's exciting.
I am
stuff.
too. And it's funny. I just took a road trip with some friends, and two of them are very connected,
very intuitive,
psychic. Yes. And one of them channels, and she has a show, and the other one is a doctor, and she's my functional medicine doctor. And I'll ask her a question and she'll go, let me look. And she'll do this thing where she like looks up.
That's so funny. That's where I always look up to the left, and I don't know why.
Yeah, actually I think she does too now that because I wasn't mirroring it. But yeah, to the left.
Interesting.
And that's where she
so
goes to just quiet and get whatever answer she needs to get. But we were talking about like when did you discover it, and how are you organically, like what's your intuitive gift? And when it came to me, I was like, I don't know. But I'm trading that for I don't know yet.
I think that's great. I don't know yet.
That's my upgrade.
That's and that's that your belief. I love that, the incremental part of it. And that's where I am. I said, I'm not claiming to be the Long Island medium. I'm never going to have the hair or the nails. I'll tell you that. But back to I love that you mentioned functional medicine. I just listened to a podcast yesterday about functional medicine and diet. I have Hashimoto's.
Me too.
Really?
Oh, we're Hashimoto sisters.
Hashimoto's. Maybe I shouldn't say it like that.
Edit. Trigger warning.
Is that racist? Domo arigato Hashimoto. Okay, now I'm fired. I'm canceled. I've been canceled.
Now you secured the edit.
Mr. Roboto. Mr. Hashimoto.
Do you remember the album and it had that like iridescent design on it?
Oh, see, go back to that. When you first saw the sticks, that's probably that when you were, hey, maybe you could play that to reconnect with that part. Domo arigato, Mr. Hashimoto.
No,
Dr. Hashimoto. Well, Dr. Hashimoto discovered this. Anyway, it's an autoimmune disease of the thyroid. But what's fascinating, I think, is what I do. I am on, my doctor, my endocrinologist is very trauma informed, really believes that so many of these endocrine and a lot of illnesses we know are rooted in trauma,
right?
And defense, and also inflammatory responses to gluten. Let me itch my arm and skin right now. I have a little eczema because I know I've been eating sugar in my tea.
I know. I have all those: sugar, gluten, dairy, soy, corn. Corn's in everything.
Oh, it's in everything, even in corn.
It's even in corn. It's in popcorn. It's in corn on the cob. There's cornstarch and corn syrup everywhere.
Just stick. Do you just stick? How do you want to talk about your disease process? I'm so against. Well, one of the stories you shared was super powerful. I don't know, but we don't want to do spoilers for your show.
No, it's okay.
But the fact
there's so much else out there that we talk about.
Oh yeah, and hearing it live and the way you tell it is different. And I'm just saying. So you thought for a moment for how much?
17 days.
17 days.
Yeah.
There was a window of time that you had some diagnosis that had a very poor prognosis.
Right. 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years.
And I found out 3 years. Like COVID, and I hadn't been to the doctor for 3 years. And so I didn't even know where I was in my 3 to 5 years.
Yeah,
like
could have been
days, minutes.
could have been at the end of the
Did
3.
it just start? Did it start 3 years ago? Yeah. So I had this misdiagnosis, and a couple things about that are interesting to me. One is the medical system. Like the bar is so low.
Yeah.
Like if I just have a doctor who doesn't give me a dirty look when I tell them I have a functional medicine doctor as well, like I'm like, okay, you're hired, I mean, right now I have a doctor. I like him a lot. He's not super informed in the things that really matter to me, but he's pretty much willing to run any test I ask for, and then I can have my functional medicine doctor look at it as well. But like that's sort of feels like the best I can get right now is just somebody who's willing to play with me, even though they don't really understand.
Even if they roll their eyes, how do we tell people that are listening what a functional medicine?
That's a great question. I don't. Yeah, I guess I really can't.
I think it's about, well, if we could probably deduce it's about functionality.
Right.
It's like, what is working? What's functioning?
Right.
What's really happening, and how do we fix it? And a lot of it is with, sleep changes, diet changes, just real practical things that are not related necessarily to Western medicine. What are you finding that helps you the most?
Well, one thing I would say that I'm really trying to be responsible for is my beliefs and my speaking. So, like they would say, so I have interstitial lung disease, which is scarring on my lungs.
And this is the diagnosis. What did you get before that diagnosis?
Chronic fibrosis. Oh. And so what happened was, so I have this autoimmune disease called CRUST, which is an acronym. And I had some symptoms, but it never really amounted to anything. It wasn't a big deal. And the symptoms I had were like Raynaud's is the R, and that's where your fingers get cold and turn purple. And so I have that. Telangiectasias are the T, and those are like these red spots that, are like, they're annoying, but it's not really troublesome. And so every year I would go in, and every year they'd go, yeah, no, you're still fine. It's not a big deal. You're fine. See you next year. And then my doctor retired. I really liked him. We had moved to Longmont. So I thought, well, I'll just find a doctor here. I don't even need to love this doctor because I literally drop in once a year and it's nothing. So it's fine.
Yeah. You're so used to it being
no big deal.
No big deal.
So I had this new doctor. She sent me off for a chest x-ray. Now you get the results in the portal right away.
Yeah.
Before, if they didn't call you for a week, you just assumed the results weren't in for a week.
Yeah, or no news is good news.
Right. But there it is. Now you see it. And so I took a look at it, and it wasn't normal. And it said like honeycombing and ground glass opacities, and it acknowledged some scarring, and it said consistent with chronic fibrosis.
Wow.
So,
and that was new. That was a different term.
Never heard of that before. I hadn't heard of any of those things. Honeycombing and ground glass opacities, none of that. So I Googled it, and that's where I saw that it was this progressive lung disease, no cure, 3 to 5 year lifespan. It literally said as I Googled it, a diagnosis no one wants to hear or something like that. I was like, oh my God.
Like worst case scenario.
Right.
God, how terrifying. And you're there reading the portal, the radiologist's report, which is going to go over to your MD, but they haven't seen it yet.
So I'm waiting for her to call. A week goes by, I don't hear from her. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of freaking out over here. So I called, and she has Fridays off. So I said, well, listen, I had this really sketchy chest x-ray, and like, can somebody look at this? And so the PA took a look and came back on and basically said, you need a CT tomorrow morning. You're going to have to drive to Greeley. Like, it didn't sound optional. It was just like, this
tomorrow.
is happening.
That's on a Saturday.
It was shocking. Like, I was so surprised that it was that urgent and that I hadn't heard anything. And so I go to get the scan, which I ask how long before my doctor sees the results. And she said like 3 hours. So I call the doctor on my way home, and I knew I'd be leaving a message, but I left a message, and I just said, listen, I'm really scared. And if you could just give me a call, and I just want some sense of what's going on. Never heard from her.
Wow.
So it was 17 days. I mean, I am like planning. I'm like, we're going to quit our jobs and travel the world, and my life insurance will pay off our credit card debt.
So you're kind of having abandonment issues. So wait, so you called her, and then she just didn't call you back. So now so that many days are going by?
Right. And she knows that the PA or whoever it was that was on call said, yeah, this is serious. You need to go get the CT tomorrow. And I didn't hear back from her after that. So I call again. And finally on the 17th day, they said, okay, she'll definitely call you tomorrow. And then they called me back like 2 minutes later and they said, actually, she'd like to go over the results in person.
Oh, drag.
So of course I'm like, of course, because I'm dying. So
right.
I made Matt take the day off work and come with me. And I was so nervous. And as I was like, they were taking my vitals, the medical assistant said, oh, that's, lucky that we had a cancellation and you could just come in and hear the results. And I was like, oh, that would have been helpful to know.
Right. This I didn't know was I'm covering your empty spot here.
As opposed to this is the kind of conversation we're going to need to have in person, which was how I heard it.
Sure.
And when she came in, she called me by the wrong name. And she was like, are you still on some drug? And I said, no. And she said, oh, you took yourself off? And I said, I don't know what that is. And she said, oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I confused you with somebody else. Wow, I haven't seen you for a while. And I said, 17 days. Like, I'm just over here thinking about it all the time.
Was it Nancy Norton? I've done shit like that. Like, oh my God, you just saw me.
Well, I felt like, I realized
wow.
she was looking at the results in that moment for the first time. She had no idea what was going on over here. So
she wasn't even getting any of these messages.
Well, yeah. I guess she
opened it and was like, oh.
Yeah.
So you're watching her face while she's looking at all these results.
Right. And then she basically said, this is not my expertise, so you're going to need to see a pulmonologist and it'll take about 4 months to get in.
God.
And so, and I had like,
that's outrageous.
It's our healthcare system.
4 months.
And that was the thing too, is I took a little sort of relief in that. You're looking for it wherever you can get it, right? And I thought, well, okay, 4 months, it must not be that urgent.
Yeah.
And she said, no, they're just busy. Like, she didn't even assuage my concern.
Yeah, I know. And you put these little feelers out, right? Like, well, that's good if it can wait 4 months. Actually,
no, not good at all.
They're just busy.
Yeah. She just was not. And I want to say this because I believe it's important to advocate for ourselves. And also, I'm somebody who really struggles to do that. Like, I would just sit there with tears rolling down my face as somebody like gave me a bad haircut. I don't have the constitution to go, what the hell are you doing? Like, it's really, it's not organic for me. So it really took something, but I felt like it was like a public service. I had to say, I need you to know what was going on over here. Like, what you not responding to my messages and what you not, returning my calls meant for me, what my experience was. That's what it was. What my experience was.
So you did let her know.
I did. And I bet don't know if it made a difference, but
I bet you let her. I made a difference to you, and I bet you did it knowing you as little as I do. But because you don't have these big highs lows, I'm guessing because that you did it with a calm demeanor.
I did.
And like just trying to be helpful, paying it forward to the next person. Like just, this was my experience. So maybe not do that to the next person.
Right.
You were really probably advocating for the next person.
I was. And I thought she'll either hear it as a contribution and it'll be that thing that had her be more conscientious or whatever, present, or she'll just fluff it off. And I really was like, don't get attached to this, what she does with this, but your job is to just say what there is to say. And a lot of it was for me to say it for me too.
No, I need to hear this today because thank you. Every episode I get a nugget, a really important thing for me. And I hope the listeners get something too, but let me be selfish.
Listen.
No, I like that because I've been on my mind. And now that my ex-sociopath is dead, I have to smile. And I'm not glad she's dead. I never wished her dead. I'm just relieved that I didn't even know how much energy I've been spending with this thick barrier trying to keep these boundaries.
Right.
Point is, I've been thinking, it's been 15 years since I was treated like the perpetrator in this relationship with this legal system here, not the judges. The judges actually, I think, saw through her, but the police and the prosecuting attorney. And she was a lawyer, and she was in the bar association. She was in their club, and sociopaths
are charming.
Thank you, because I got to let go of the outcome, but just maybe write a letter and say, I just want you to know how this was for me and my son, who I was trying to protect.
Yeah.
See, I'm not done processing that.
Yeah.
But I will share that unprocessed.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? There's different levels of processing too.
Yeah.
Like you process it enough to be in a place where you could be in another relationship. And then you process it enough to be to a place where you can cut yourself some slack, or like there's all these sort of markers, but I don't know that processing, I don't think you check it off your list and never go back to it.
It's such a nuanced thing.
Yeah.
But it is a step, and thank you for helping me with that. I just want to tell you thank you.
You're welcome.
To let go of the outcome and speak my truth.
For
and
you.
For me and for the next person.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, be careful, because when you do it for the next person, there's an attachment to that part. You want to really have to just do it for you.
Okay.
Maybe it makes a difference for somebody else.
Maybe. But right, I cannot attach. Okay, so that's helpful. I need help with that. That's really helpful. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Okay, now you got this news. You thought you were dying. You could be at 3 years with this, and then 4 months. But there's a long. How long did you go to until you saw 4 months? Did it take that long to see the pulmonologist?
Yeah, it did.
And so you're in that window of time.
I didn't think I was dying necessarily for that 4 months. It was really the 17 days I thought I had chronic fibrosis. She said, there's scarring on your lungs. That's not good. And I was like, yeah, but you hear things like smokers their lungs will be completely new in 10 years or whatever it is. And so I thought, well, won't they regenerate? And she said, it doesn't really work like that. And so
once it's scarred,
scarring isn't going to change. And so that's funny. It brought me back to one of the things.
Now I'm wondering if that's a belief.
Well, so here's the thing. And this is what I was going to talk about a little while ago, but I forgot.
Couldn't have been my fault.
No, I can do that all by myself. It's just more fun with you.
Well, you can blame me. I'm happy for it. I'm just like, yep, I took you over here. But so you're going to say the scarring about the belief.
Well, so there's a belief that's just your lot. That won't change. And I catch myself sometimes like identifying as somebody who has interstitial lung disease, or identifying as,
Hashimoto's,
somebody with health issues, as opposed to, this is my experience right now, but I do believe things are possible outside of what we currently know.
Yes.
I believe in miracles, and
I do too.
I have some evidence of them, but not enough to organically come from there. I think I organically buy into the limitations. I think, so here's upgrades again. I used to argue for my limitations. Like I would fight you on how limited I am.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I get it. No, I totally get it. And as a recovering adult child, one of our things is we do put ourselves in the position of victims.
Yeah.
Like things have been done to me, that there's a helplessness and a powerlessness that somehow relieves me of any responsibility.
Right.
But I like what you're saying. I am responsible for my beliefs.
Right.
And I do this thing about identifying with our diagnosis, or, this lazy eye, or, whatever that's been with us a while, does not mean it has to persist.
Right.
And I try to ask, what's for the highest good? Is this part of my life journey that this, I don't know, but be more curious maybe. Is curiosity a step?
100%. In fact, it's not just a neutral place. It's a slightly elevated place, because inside of curiosity, you're not trying to control it. All the things that we do that somehow turn into sabotage or that keep us stuck don't exist in curiosity. I mean, I made that up. Don't listen to me. I don't know.
I like that.
It feels like it's a pure, open place where you don't already know and you can't control it, and so something new can come.
I feel that. I feel the expansiveness of curiosity.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
It's an angle like this, and it goes ever outward. Yeah. Curiosity,
like a flashlight into the sky that I did in 5th grade. That's still going. It's ever.
Oh, I love that, and it's still going.
Still going.
And then somebody somewhere, and then I hope you did a Morse code of your name. Elaina was here. Elaina was here. Boop, 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 boop. I love this. One of the things I love that you concluded your story with was something about how you lived in that 17 days and how you started changing, like being in the present moment and the books that you wanted to have found on your beds. Like, if I die, I want these things.
Yeah.
Like, this is my life.
This is what I want you to think my life was. None of it was true. Like, it was such a lie. I thought I was going to have this profound spiritual awakening. Like, I was going to suddenly like get it. And instead I was like, delete my search history. Like, you
did all these ego defenses.
Oh my gosh. And I was like so taken out. It was like the opposite of what I thought it was going to be. I wasn't even present anymore.
Oh.
And so and then that shifted for me a little bit. That shifted. And I started to like take those moments to be aware of those kind of mundane things. Like, I remember a big one was feeling the sun on the back of my neck when I went to get the mail. And like, usually you just go get the mail.
Yeah.
And this was like, it was like a little hug from the sun, on the back of my neck. And I could really appreciate it differently. And so I started to have those moments. But in the beginning, I was
savoring your earth experience.
Yeah, my late night showers. I mean, those like...
That's self-love.
It was. It was
sensual.
it was the gift I could give to myself to just kind of recalibrate it. I do feel a little bit bad about the water wasting. It's excessive.
As long as you feel a little bad.
It's a lot of water play. Yeah, well, the guilt, it neutralizes.
It goes back, it does get looped into a system. I just did a show for the Water Treatment Association of Colorado.
Oh, interesting.
Everything's in a kind of a closed loop. So don't worry about it.
That makes me feel a lot better.
It actually is going to go back into the system.
That's the gift you gave to me.
Well, we did a show in my activist group about water. And I mean, honestly, we were not like, we were doing all this water scarcity the whole time we were doing it. And then it's like, but wait, they need the water to go back into the water treatment system.
Now you're just hoarding water. Now you're part of a different problem.
Yeah. Now you're withholding. But so you did sensual things. Again, sidetracked old Nance.
Yeah.
But then, and I'm going to sidetrack one more time. I just was running around the neighborhood lake yesterday. I've been having all these spirit signs from hawks and eagles. And I had not, I'm telling you, I was running and I was having gratitude for the feeling of air on my arms and just like, thank you, God, for this, or higher power, however you want to say it. But thank you for this earth experience that I'm having. I'm really enjoying it. And then this eagle, and I'm not kidding you, a bald eagle, which I'd never seen at this lake, came over to me and did like a U-turn right over me and took off. And I was like...
A flyover.
Yeah. And I think what I've been told is they're messengers, and then when they come, they're like, whatever you're thinking about,
that
we're with you, and they love to delight me. I always call it like I get the little wings, the little goosebumps. But so I don't know, the more that we're like, here we are, gratitude for something as simple as the sun
right
on your neck.
Yeah. So I went from
shower.
like wanting to like curate what people found after I died so I looked more important or cooler or smarter than I am, and then I gave that up and planned this trip. Like I said, we're going to quit our jobs and travel the world. But I was also like not at all acknowledging that if I really did have this thing, that there would be this like, would I really be traveling and drinking wine and or would I be in bed coughing up blood? I don't know how it is with chronic fibrosis, but it didn't sound good. So I was kind of went through there, and then I finally arrived at gratitude for all of it and the beauty of the mundane and seeing that, and I was really glad. And so when I got the correct diagnosis, you don't have chronic fibrosis, you do have this other thing. It's early. Let's do what we can to manage it, and it wasn't, suddenly I wasn't dying. I was so relieved, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was also kind of devastated. Like, how am I going to maintain this gratitude? I was so afraid I would lose it. But you know what? I totally did. Yeah, no, it was less than 17 days. It was gone. I was,
no more sun on your neck.
Now it's like petty arguments about tone and, upset with traffic.
And these bills that are in the mailbox. Oh, isn't that something?
Yeah.
So, but do you have glimpses of being in the present moment? I mean, if I know it's funny to say you totally forgot, but did you really? Because I can't believe that there's not a part of you that's like, you know what? I'm always going to have
reference. I had a glimpse of something good, a different way. You know, sometimes I will catch myself even now, just wanting to hurry up and get to the weekend. Like my week is really busy, and you know, I have this show which means so much to me, and then I have hypnosis and coaching, but I also have a full-time job, and so it's a lot, and I commute to Denver, so it's like my days are so full. I'm tired talking about it, and so that's another thing I have to be careful with my speaking and my beliefs about being tired, right? Because I can buy into that too. Okay, so let me delete that.
So how would you say it? Let's say it in a really positive way.
Yeah, I'm up to a lot.
I'm up to a lot.
That's true. Yes, I can believe that. That's true.
And you are super capable.
Super capable.
And you are.
Yes.
And there's also this part of you that really longs for a relaxation.
Yes.
I'm picturing, I have a hammock in my backyard because I see it out my kitchen window. And I go there in my mind's eye quite a bit. And I don't know if that's dissociating or taking me out of my present moment.
I think it's actually.
I just have this. It's like a mini vacation in my mind.
It's like a little mental vacation. It's actually brilliant.
Yeah,
it's really good. I think.
But I get that, and I read Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Did you read that?
Oh, see, that's one of the books that should be on my bedside table, but I couldn't get through it. Here's
some people don't vibe with it.
I want to. I vibe with everything about it, except here's what happens. I read like three paragraphs.
I love
and
that
then
you're
I get
honest.
sleepy. Yeah. And then when I go back the next night, I have to reread 2 of the 3 paragraphs because I was half asleep, and I move at 1 paragraph a night, and then I just get bored and I don't finish it.
I hear you. Well, I read the Cliff Notes. You know, I did. I did. There's a book called there's a book called Practicing the Power of Now. It's a much smaller book, and in each little bit, it's really mini meditations. So it's like 2-minute things.
Okay, I could probably do that.
And the foreword is similar, where he talks about discovering, his inner voice and like who's witnessing this, and like being the watcher in your own life. But anyway, he taught me some very mini meditations that I did at work when I was working as a nurse, and I was just like, again, my mother, I think, told me this. Now, my mother had issues, but she also had a lot of wisdom, and she said, don't wish your life away. And so I would wish, don't wish your week away because you want to.
And that's what I catch myself wanting to hurry up and get to the weekend, and realizing that's exactly what's happening. I'm wishing my life away. I'm 53, and I think about, I met my husband at 45, 8 years ago. And I think we've been together for 8 years. And if I lived to be 80-ish, that's only 3 more of those. I only get 3 more of what I've already had with him.
Yeah.
And so don't be blowing through your week, like trying to hurry up and get to the weekend. Like this is it right here.
But does it also prompt you? It is it right here. And does it does it also prompt you to want to set up your life in a way where you have more time with him? And how can we live differently? I'm looking at this. I'm looking at it. I'm this close
Not
to
quite ready to look at it yet.
I'm looking at it with my lazy eye. I am considering a tiny house community. And my son is forewarned. He's 19. And I said, you're welcome to be here for another couple of years.
Yeah.
And my dog too, I'm not rushing her on the Rainbow Bridge, but I'm like, when Sophie decides to move on, and my son, I have told him I'm going to live like a gypsy. I just love, I have this Honda Element with a camper on top. Oh. I love going where I want to go, following my heart's desire, and having this really low monthly nut that I can just have this in the present moment, like where almost like the universe lights up the path before me, and I just step forward. I don't know.
I love that. No, I'm so enrolled in that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's I have fantasies of that too. I think one of my challenges and with the job is that, I kind of grew up broke, and I married broke, and
so really
so I'm
like
scrappy.
Security. Tell me more.
I'm scrappy because I always had to be, but now I'm just really good at this job, and it's lucrative, and so I'm just like enjoying being able to take a vacation and not have all those limitations, and I'm just not ready to not have that, because I lived most of my life without that.
Okay. So yeah, and I get it. Just the sense my dad, definitely had scarcity as a kid. And, I feed these squirrels because I might have to eat them someday. That's not true. That's not the real truth. That is me saying thank you. They're my power animal. My dad lived on squirrels. So I'm part squirrel. So I'm just like, thank you for feeding my dad and I'll feed you, and
circle of life.
It is
different.
And of course, like I always say, if the quinoa runs out, I will use squirrel. But I get it. Like security it's okay. And it's okay to find it where you find it. And then the two sides of every coin, like the trade out
and it's
for you.
For just a little while, but I'm very clear about the trade out. And when I catch myself trying to rush to the weekend, I have to
tell me more. Yeah.
Now, you're choosing this though, right? Like, you don't have to be here. Yeah. And so I have to just remind myself and then I can kind of get back to inside of that choice. Now it's like, oh, this is what we're doing. 10 years is a good number. I feel like I could, and frankly, I'd prefer like 5.
Okay.
Really. But
no, I'm not doing that right now. Like I work 12-hour shifts as a nurse and I have a friend who's one of my ex-girlfriends, not a sociopath, not an alcoholic, but emotionally distant. Anyway, but very spiritually connected. And we did this meditation together and I got a very clear plan of how I can stop working 12-hour shifts, make more money doing keynote speaking in one day, 1 hour. I could make in 1 hour what I made in a month of full-time work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying though? And so this life coach that she was like, that, because I don't need a lot of money.
Is that what you did? Did you quit the nursing and went into the...
Yeah, and I took out a home equity line of credit. Wow. I also bought an investment property. That went way up, and then I lived on that for 2 years.
Right.
But then I had all this time with my son because I was able to, and still, able to spend time with him. And there is a way, to do it all. But this life coach, she was a speaker, and so Diane, my ex, was doing this channel thing, and then she gave me this gift of this life coach session, and this woman's also intuitive. And she just said, Nancy, what do you need to make a month? And I was like, I don't need a lot. I need $5,000, $60,000 a year. She goes, you can make that in 1 hour of a keynote. And you are a better speaker than me, I can tell you right now. And I was like, what? It took me 10 years to believe it, though.
Really?
She told me that 10 years before I ever made that $5,000 in 1 hour.
It's funny. That's another thing about belief when it comes to prices, like your rates for things.
Yeah, help me.
You have to believe it. But what's funny is I
really couldn't. I was like, I was working as a comedian getting $50 a gig sometimes.
And spending $60 in gas to get there and home. Yeah, here's what I learned. I went to I worked with a guy who would teach coaches and speakers to raise their rates and be more successful. And I really couldn't afford this course. I mean, I had to fly to North Carolina. It was like a whole thing. I really was putting myself out there. And I just did not see how I could charge more than I was charging. I was charging $12.95 for 3 months of coaching and $23.95 for 6 months of coaching. And it wasn't in the content of this speaker. It was like a small group, this thing that I went on. But after the course one night, I went out to dinner with several people, and there was one woman there, and I don't know how to say this and be appropriate or generous, but like she just occurred as not that bright, there was nothing special about her, and she was charging $5,000 and $10,000.
Yeah.
And something just clicked, like, I think I'm ready to raise my rates. Like, it was just simply a matter of like, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. And then also seeing the value. Like, it's taken me a while, and I'm starting to really see my value now, what I'm doing, and I'm doing bigger and bigger conferences, but I'm really aware, like, I am getting the feedback that it's helping. Yeah. And then I do want to be of service. Right. And I also do want to provide well for my family. And I do need to double that rate. The first time I met one of the former presidents of the local speaker association, she's like, yo, you're a $10,000 speaker. And I was like, that feels crazy. Yeah. But if you're helping a company and you're helping people and you are really, truly believing and knowing that they are going to take away from this some tools of, resilience.
Yes.
And team building and all the stuff that I gets with the power of humor.
Yeah.
I am really getting it.
Yeah.
It's taken me a while.
Yeah.
It's taken me a while. How do we increment? And I know we need to have closure soon. We could do another session sometime about this. Maybe we should.
Okay.
I would love to specifically talk about this.
How to level up.
How to break through those beliefs and how to level up. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
I love this. I would love to talk specifically about that if you'd be open to doing another session.
One thing I want to say too that I have often thought of, I haven't seen your nurse's show, but
oh right.
I think most of us really got a taste of the gift that nurses are after COVID, and just friggin' soldiers, right? Like that just get out and do what needs to be done.
I know, at their own detriment. So many.
I did a hypnosis session for nurses. I tried to get it out there. I didn't know you, but I was just kept putting it on Facebook going, if you know nurses, here's this little reboot. I just want to do something to help. I can't.
Oh, wonderful.
I can't sew a mask for you, but maybe I can help. Like you're just trying to find how you can make a difference somehow, maybe. But what I was going to say is in comedy with the show and in the Alzheimer's jokes that I do, my whole commitment or intention is to have the audience feel gotten, seen and heard. Like, yeah, caretaking's, can you say fuck?
Yeah. Oh,
we fucking hard.
We recommend it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
It actually is a form of self-medicating. It's been proven to it releases endogenous morphine when you say fuck. So it's like there's a lot of fucking on the traumedy. There's a lot of F words.
I like that. I don't even need to read the research. I believe you.
You get the anecdotal evidence. That's what I always say. Trust your anecdotal evidence of one.
It already feels better.
That's wonderful that you did that for the nurses. So did you did it?
So I did that. Yeah, it's floating around somewhere. I'll send it to you, by the way, if you know anybody who needs it. But what I was going to say is I feel like when you do your nurse comedy, I haven't seen it, but I imagine that nurses feel really seen.
Yes.
That as a result of what you're sharing, that they recognize their humanness and your humanness, and they feel supported.
Yeah, they're mirrored, but they're also part of the show. So it's an interactive show.
Oh.
So the last quarter or a third of the show is them telling their stories. Because every nurse has these you got to hear the time that this guy came in or this person did that thing.
Yes.
Or there's these miracle stories that are really fun. And I love, near-death experiences. It's one of my things I watch on YouTube all the time. These people that have gone beyond and come back and they
tell you.
Yeah. And I think as I'm heading closer and closer to the demise, I love hearing that. I'm like, I'm excited to see the light, and reunite with my home. That's what they all say. It's like going home. And it's like no love you've ever experienced in this world, even though it's great. Love is great here, but it's like way beyond. So it's something to look forward to.
It is. Maybe, hopefully.
But anyway, so the nurses, they not only feel seen, known, and celebrated and mirrored in my material, but they get to share that firsthand. So we go around and
I love that.
And then,
oh my gosh, they must love that.
And it's the best because I'm not working in the hospital these days, so it's more meaningful. I just did a show in Boston for the Critical Care Nurses Association there, and their stories, when that's peer-to-peer sharing, that's the best in that genre or whatever. But thank you for letting me share that, my little thing about nurses off the charts.
Yes.
And we do it in clubs where it's not HR approved, you know what I mean?
Right.
So they can say fuck, they can say whatever they want, and it's not like, oh, how dare you?
Right.
That could undermine the trust and confidence of our patients. And it's like, well, I don't know where I was. All of a sudden, I was in Savannah, Georgia, doing the show.
We have very strict HR in Savannah. Everybody knows that.
How dare you? It's also my mother's like, that's going to violate a trust. But we don't violate HIPAA regulations, but we do get close. You know what I mean?
Just to the edge.
To the edge. We don't give away any identifying thing, unless you know the person really well. You might go, I know, that was Steve. Whoops. Anyway, well, we should probably have closure for now. But how do you feel about what you shared? Or do you feel like I left you hanging? Is there anything like a dangling participle out here that's like Nancy?
Not that I'm aware of. It's funny. Sometimes it does feel good to not have to just stay on point and do one task. I mean, this is how I clean. I start in the bathroom and I go to get something, and then I take a little time over there, and then I go my laundry, and I know a lot of, and I'm not diagnosed ADHD, and maybe I have it, but I just
again the labels, right? We always want.
I know,
but you know what? I think they give us compassion for ourselves when I say, "Oh, it's ADHD," or my friend just realized she might be on the spectrum, and she goes, "Oh, this makes so much more sense."
It does help make sense of something.
Yeah, or it just gives you like. Well, anyway.
But I don't need it. I mean, I just feel like sometimes my husband, I think it drives him crazy. He says, you're like a fart in a skillet. Is that a real term? I don't know if he made that up.
Where's he from? That sounds like a southern.
Savannah?
Is he from Savannah?
No.
Where is he from?
Boulder.
He's from Boulder. A fart in a skillet.
Yeah.
Please send me an email. Have you ever heard this? A fart in a skillet? I have never in my life, and I've been around this.
Yeah, you have been around, and you haven't heard that?
No, fart. You're like a fart in a skillet.
Fart in a skillet.
I'm trying to picture it.
I imagine.
First of all,
it's the
like when you have water that dry, like if you drop a drop of water,
and it kind of bounces around.
Why don't we say?
Why wouldn't you say water? A drop of water in a skillet.
A fart in a skillet.
I don't know.
But anyway,
a boy, I don't know.
They like the farts.
They do like the farts. So all that to say, he doesn't like when I clean that way. I mean, it makes him uncomfortable, but sometimes it's nice to just roll the way it wants to go. And that's what happened here today.
This was Welcome to Fart in a Skillet. That's our podcast. I think we could have an offshoot. You know, like how the old sitcoms used to have spin-offs?
I was just going to say, like the Jeffersons were the spin-off of All in the Family.
Yes, the spin-off.
Yes.
That's so what we are psychically attuned. Yes.
I'm getting there.
We are welcome. Tune in next week for Fart in a Skillet. I love it. I love it on so many levels.
I'll have to see if I can find fartinaskillet.com.
Let's go.
Not at GoDaddy.
Do not go to GoDaddy.
No.
Please, you guys. The CEO shot an elephant for no reason. Just because he had money and he could get a person to help him. I'm angry. I'm angry about that. And I know.
I'm angry about that too.
Okay, I got to release it. We got to send love to all the elephants and the whales. I just have a thing for these huge creatures that are so vulnerable and easy to spot on a radar, you know? They're so...
Being big and vulnerable.
Yeah,
that's advanced. I feel like if you come to life, maybe you agreed to something, that's advanced. You're like, right? I'm going to be giant and vulnerable.
Yay. Yes, they are an evolved being. Wow, I just heard a near-death experience. We're never ending this. Fart in a Skillet continues. I just heard
I want to hear about the near-death experience, though, and then we'll stop.
This guy went to the other side, and he was in this sort of musical... It was like whale songs. I do believe they've got to be, their brains are larger than ours. Just because they speak a different language and don't have the appendages, it's crazy what we think it's okay to do. I am an animal rights activist, and I do over-identify with them sometimes. And I got to trust their path, that they are evolved beings and doing something maybe I don't recognize.
And, going back to going home, and the greatest love you've ever felt. I mean, you can remind yourself of that too.
Yeah.
When that happens.
It's just that in the mid-time, I'm not a fan of the suffering.
No,
but I don't know. There's some lessons there. And that's, back to our bodies and trusting like, okay, this happened, whatever with me, with you, like there's so many gifts that have come through it. I wouldn't wish it on someone. And I definitely am okay with, hey, I'm open to transcending it and healing it.
Right.
Like my endocrinologist, she said, I've not seen someone heal Hashimoto's. I've seen them arrest it.
Yeah.
By eating, sort of a
AIP.
Yeah, anti-inflammatory
protocol.
I didn't know what the
P.
I
was just doing.
I was curious what the P was. AIP. Okay, I'm going to look at that. Thank you for all the gifts you brought to me today.
Same.
I'm inspired. You've inspired me.
That's the best.
Yeah, thank you. Send me a bill. That was how much coaching in an hour and 35 minutes I got.
No, you know what? I want to tell you, you brought gifts and awarenesses to me too, and reminders of things I forget. I feel like sometimes we have a toolbox, but you know how it has like that what would you call it? Like the
latch?
thing on top.
Oh, the false bottom.
Yeah, the false bottom. Yeah. I forget to lift that up, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's all that stuff. And so like you reminded me of a couple of those tools that weren't in the lower line compartment, of sight, and I forgot about them. And so that's what makes these conversations great.
I love them, and I don't want to gender. I am a little bit more like you're saying your husband. I think I'm not saying testosterone changes everything, but I've heard it changes a little bit how the brain works for a reason, and that's okay. And they have purpose, but they love things that tend to. Yeah, I'm not going to generalize. I'm looking at my thing like I'm talking to people who aren't here. You know, those people that are going to judge this and cancel me. But yeah, I love the female. I love the female mind. I love the nonlinear. And I get that we can do this. That we really can sort of hold all of this at once. That's
different from multitasking, though, don't you think? Like I go from one task to the next as opposed, I leave things unfinished and go back to them, but I can't hold them all at once. I don't know if other people can.
Yeah.
I am aware.
It's like serial monogamy.
Yeah, exactly. It is kind of similar.
Is polyamory, does it really exist, or are you doing
Are you just mini monogamy?
Are you, or even in you know what? I did one menage a trois and it was too much for this girl. I was like, I couldn't, it was too much.
It's a lot of, I dated two people at once. They both knew. Committed relationships with two people at once. And it was above board. Everybody knew.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, again, the disassociation was perfect. I was able to just be fully present with one when I was there. And one of them lived out of town. And then fully present with the other one when I was with him. But it ultimately, I wasn't really in two relationships. I was in one relationship at a time.
Oh, I get that.
I had to turn it on and turn it off.
Yeah.
And turn it on and turn it off.
I see. Yeah. And I don't want to project my limitations on. I did interview a wonderful polyamorous quad and they were amazing. I just don't know that I'm that evolved yet.
Yeah.
But I'm open to it. And okay. The never ending.
I love it.
Welcome to the never ending closure. Now, closure. I don't know who I'm channeling.
I love that band. Closure.
They're opening for Styx. Tomo arigato. Dr. Hashimoto. I am fired. Okay. Thank you so much. Elaina McMillan. One of my favorite McMillans. I've loved McMillan and Wife. I don't know if you ever watched Rockford Files.
I remember that.
No, it wasn't Rockford Files.
No.
Those are all shit.
Same era. It was Rock Hudson.
Rock Hudson. That's where the rock came in.
Yes.
Rock Hudson was gay and he was so handsome. We were all in love with him. And it's like, he's gay. Just like my first boyfriend. Okay. In closing. Tune in. You don't have to tune in next week because this will never end. You can just keep listening until keep listening till next Tuesday.
It's like one of those 22-hour music things on YouTube of like the megahertz music. Do you know what I'm talking? They just run for like 22 hours.
Yes, that and the Oh yeah, that and the crackling fireplace.
But we can't promise that anything good will happen in your brain as a result of listening to this for 22 hours.
I can. Okay. I'm actually going to promise that.
I'll believe you.
Yes. Take me to task. Something good has happened. You can't prove that it didn't.
I like it.
All right. Peace and love, everybody. And thank you, Elaina McMillan.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, we had closure. We had a false closure. You've heard of a false start.
Yeah. This is a false end.
Bang. This is a false end.
Yeah.
Back to the ending line.
I just wanted to say thank you for allowing this to just organically go where it went, because I don't really get to do that, but it felt so good over here.
Oh, I'm going to let that in because I was saying how much shame that has been a part of my upbringing and my mom telling me, basically you talk too much. And also just, I don't know, there's just shame. I love that you shared how you clean your house, and I start several projects the same way. And so thank you for helping me celebrate So how can I I want to see if I can just take that in, and I'm going to do my little thing I do.
Yeah.
Your gratitude and let it in, because there's the training to deflect and say, yeah, well, I'm doing something bad, where I'm distracting you from your story.
Oh, it was such a gift to get to just go on this journey and go to all the places. It was sort of like being in a cave and looking behind that rock and lifting up that seashell and, what's over here, instead of just walking in a straight line. And it felt really good.
Sort of an adventure conversation.
It was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to embrace that and
Please
try
do.
to take away some of the shame of, I distracted my guest, and I do make things about me. And it's but I think it's adding to, but to me, the feminine conversation is sort
Fluid.
of non-linear and fluid. And I tend to circle back.
You do. You're very good at the circling back.
Thank you.
I appreciate that too, but I think I just mostly appreciated not having to go someplace in particular. It was nice to not have to stay on task.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to trust it. Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks, Elaina. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We had, oh my gosh, we had two closures, very long. It's a two-part. It should have been maybe a two-parter, but you know what? You can always just pause it, right? And listen some more. I love laughing with Elaina McMillan. It did remind me of some of the whimsy I felt with Katie Mason, which is really cool that Katie Mason, Elaina McMillan, and Andrea Vall will be at the Bug Theater. If you're around Colorado, they're going to be in Denver May 18th at the Bug Theater presenting Life, a delightful show about fear and grief. I want to thank Elaina one more time and my higher self. I want to thank my higher self. I want to thank my son, Nathaniel Norton, for putting this music loop together. And I want to thank you, the listener. I like seeing that I have some regular listeners, and I hope to get the reach out there to other people who may benefit from this podcast. So please share it with a friend if you think anybody could benefit from anything we have shared. I gotta say, I do feel very selfish about it. I think it's helping me the most. So thank you for being a part of my healing process. Let's keep healing. Let's do this. All right. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Every Tuesday, it's Traumedy Tuesdays. No matter what, keep laughing.